Good evening. Welcome to fotoMODESTO's online gallery. My name is David Schrader, one of the co-founders of fotoMODESTO, and your host for this gallery tour. Each year, February has become fotoMODESTO month in Modesto, with a variety of photo exhibits being hung around town and a feature exhibit being displayed at the Michelin Gallery. However, this year, because of COVID-19, most gallery sites have been closed. Rather than totally cancel our event, we decided to put it online. An added benefit to this approach is that we can invite the artists to join us in discussing their work. The theme for this year's event is literally about themes, titled Themes, Projects, and Stories, and is based on the observation that apart from wanting to display images that are technically adequate and artistic in nature, most photographers also have something to say or have a favorite subject matter that is the focus of their work. At fotoMODESTO, we thought it would be interesting to take a look at what some of our local photographers have been focused on. Today's guest is Larry Liu, a multi-talented photographer who has explored a number of approaches to his art. His latest project centers on birds. Let's bring him on and find out what he's been working on and how he does it. Welcome, Larry. Hi there.
Good evening. Good evening.
How are you this evening?
Doing fine.
Yeah?
Looking forward to our little talk.
Oh, great, great. Say, I know that I've known you for some time, and you've had a lot of different approaches to photography. Whether it's, I remember a bunch of boxing photographs. I remember a lot of landscapes, but lately I've also seen you focus on birds. So I'm interested in that, but before we get to that, maybe you can tell us a little bit something about yourself, who you are, where you came from, how you got interested in photography.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm a retired civil engineer, but I originally grew up on a cattle ranch in northeastern Oregon during the 1950s. And so certainly when you are on a cattle ranch, you're exposed to nature and all its elements. Feeding cattle 20 below zero weather to all those glorious things. But we moved to California in 1964 after I graduated from Oregon State University. And it was a whole new world. Actually, there's green grass in the wintertime and all kinds of things that people where I grew up weren't exposed to. And it's really a great state. I still love it. I went to work for the Division of Highways in '64, and then I moved to Stanislaus County in 1970. I've been here for a while. And I worked for Stanislaus County. I was a engineering supervisor at Stanislaus County. Then I became city engineer, City of Ceres. And then in '78, decided to go out on my own and start an engineering firm, which is still in business.
Right.
And basically, I started, once I retired in 2007, I spent a lot more time on my gallery wood turning. That ended up doing that for a long time. I quit it in about 2017. And it was a very, very interesting hobby that actually turned into a business. But
how did you get involved in that? That's a very interesting
well, the wood turning was, in my situation, it was everything that I ever turned on was stuff that was recycled, 99% of it from the Central Valley. I spent winters in cherry orchards, walnut orchards, everything I could, harvesting trees, probably cut 10 tons of wood and almost everything I ever did was done with recycled stuff from the valley here. And I was with the gallery in Turlock for many years, and did a lot of competitions in the Bay Area, and of course with our local galleries. I exhibited there. But what was it? Go ahead.
So, hold on just a second. I want to share something here. See if you remember.
Yeah, I do. Haven't seen that in a while.
When I first met you,
yeah,
this is what you were doing. I was so impressed. I had come over to talk to you about photography,
yeah,
and you took me out into your workshop, your garage, and it's like, this is amazing stuff.
yep. And that was one of my better pieces too. It really was.
I talked you out of it.
And you can see that it would come from recycled wood right here in the valley.
Yeah.
I forgot that, quite frankly. And what, in order to do this, you had to take pictures. And I'd always liked photography, but I drifted out of it. But the digital stuff come along, so I started taking pictures of this wood art. And the more I got into it, why I could see other things. So I started landscape photography and stuff again. And back at the gallery, I don't remember what it was when I first did it at the gallery over there that you ran, Photographers Gallery.
Photographers Gallery, yeah.
Probably 2007, I guess, or
yes, yeah,
whatever. And from then on, I just kept doing more and more things in photography. I think at that time I had a D50 6 megapixel. Thought it was the greatest thing on earth. Now I have a 46 megapixel.
Yeah, we can't resist, can we?
It's been quite a ride. But the other thing that was kind of interesting is they had developed Ceres River Bluff Park, but they only developed the first part of it. It was an old orchard, and I started spending a lot of time down there taking pictures, and that's when I really got serious about it again, doing the photography, and there was a lot of birds down there, more birds than other types of wildlife, and I decided, well, I'm going to try to take pictures of these. Well, I learned early that it's not all that easy to do. So, and then even I think in about 2010, I'm guessing, went to Florida, and boy, that's bird heaven, as you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I really got serious about it, and what it boiled down to is you've got to if you're going to do the bird photography, you've got to have the equipment, and that's the commitment that you have to make. And so I now probably have some of the best. Well, I know I have the best equipment that money can buy. I'm very lucky to have that. My bowl hobby paid for a lot of it.
Yeah.
So
you're telling me that your iPhone won't do?
Well, I don't think so. When we sold our house on the mountain, I took my commission and I bought my first 500 millimeter f4 Nikon lens, and that was I'd already had another one, but that was the one that really pushed it over the edge. And so what you do is once you have this equipment, and you've seen what other people can do, and I recommend this to anybody, go online. If you're any type of photography, it's there. And there's a couple of birding sites, California birding, and things that I got onto, and they really show you what can be done. And I think that's helped considerably, because now I know what can be done, and and I've pushed it pretty much to the top right now.
Yeah. So how much time would you say you spend on your birds now, as opposed to other types of photography?
Well, lately, let's don't count this, but I would say half
Okay.
the time. Don't count the pandemic.
Okay, right. We don't count the pandemic, right?
I would say about half the time.
Yeah.
And so there's a good reason for that. Our Central Valley probably has some of the best birding around. I mean, I'm talking in the U.S. We're on the flyways. We get a lot of, and we've got a lot of nice wildlife refuges that lend themselves to this type of photography.
Right, right.
So,
Agree. Well, let's take a look at some of your work here,
okay.
and maybe you can comment on.
Okay. This one here, when you really get serious about the photography, at least when I did, I would have visions of shots that I wanted to get. The chances of getting them were pretty slim. But anyway, this was a total fluke. I was out on the platform, out on Beckwith Road, San Joaquin River National Wildlife Refuge, starting to work on the geese and all that stuff. And I heard this honking behind me, and these were heading my direction. And I grabbed the camera, handheld it, and they flew pretty much right by me. And it was a foggy morning, and the sun obviously was just coming up. And I fired away, and I got about 7 shots with the birds in focus. Not that easy to do when it's a quick shot. But anyway, that was a really accident, but I was ready for it because I knew exactly what to do, because that's one of the shots I'd always envisioned.
Yeah. So these are Sandhill Cranes?
Sandhill Cranes, my favorite bird. The reason it's my favorite bird is most birds eat, poop, fly around, do things like that. These do everything. They dance with each other. They do all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's a great subject.
Okay.
Okay. This is a pandemic bird. I have an armchair set up right through, and shot this right through my patio window.
Right.
But the detail on these is a function of light, good equipment.
Yes, the detail is incredible.
And this could actually be blown up 10 times bigger than the bird. But in this case, it's wintertime, and these, when they're normal feeding and stuff, moving, they're much slimmer. But they fluff up for insulation. And I also look for poses that are a little bit different. And this one was just perfect. It was going sideways, so you got everything in focus, and twisted its head up so you get the eyeball. Without the eyes, bird photography is nothing. So anyway, that's where that came from. That was right out of my backyard.
Pandemic bird, right? Oh, look at here! Oh, wow!
This one was really exciting. This is a pelican. That's about our biggest bird in California for all intents and purposes. They got up to a 7-foot wingspan. I had my camera, just got out of the car, and my camera is set up for back thumb focusing. Focus on the back, so it continually focuses. And I got up to the fence on the cliff, and I saw this bird down on the water coming up, this seagull, and I pulled the camera up and hit the button and and it flew up right at my level.
Jeez.
Cliff, and that black thing in back are the stacks at the Moss Landing full power.
Oh, okay.
I fired away, and I got 3 shots at this guy. because of automatic focus. And 3 shots is all I got, but the detail was absolutely incredible. And they flew right over my head. He probably missed me by 3 feet. And that don't happen very often.
The color's great too.
This is a California quail out at San Luis National Wildlife Refuge. I've spent a lot of years trying to photograph these things, didn't have much luck, but then I finally learned where they were and could find them easier. But this one was special because it was looking into the sun. And I try everything I can to make the birds look, like it's a portrait that they wanted to have, give them all the detail. And this one, the sun hit it just right. In fact, you can see the light right on his forehead. Still caught the light, but the feathers was incredible detail. And it's got just a little warmer color. So that was one of my favorites too.
Yeah, it's great. There's a personality.
Right, there is. I put him on a poster. Anyway, on the coast, wind blowing probably 25 plus miles an hour. Got out of the car, could hardly stand up. And this raven was spending more time trying to stay on the perch than it was bothering me. But I finally got back far enough with my camera and started firing away. And it turned around and looked at me, and you can see where the wind hit the feathers in the back of it. And he definitely was frowning. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But there was enough light that I could get the color cast. They have some color cast to them, and then still get the detail, feather detail and stuff. And with a blue background, it was a quickie, but different.
Yes, definitely personality.
This is from Florida, and we have it's a black crowned night hair that got cut off, but we have all kinds of them around here too. But this was really close, right by the road, and I was able to let's look at the feet. They just look almost like witch's claws.
Yeah.
And they weren't posing; they were just sitting there doing their thing. And it was pretty dark, but the dynamic range was just almost perfect to get the picture. And that once again, that gives you the nice detail, and you can see the sun shining on the wing, what little there was, but that gives the maximum definition on the feathers, his side light. And so that's how that one come about. This is probably one of the most common birds, also the hardest bird to get a decent picture of. The Harrier. This is a northern Harrier. Anytime you go out to Wildlife Refuge, you'll see them flying. They're flying about 5 feet above the terrain, the tules, whatever they're flying, just slowly moving up and down, cruising. But they rarely get close enough. I was actually sitting in the car here in the truck, and this one, I've been watching it. It was feeding, and it got up and flew right past me, and I was able to get on it real quick and got the detail, probably the best background you could have, which is tules and things like that.
Right.
It caught the eye light was there, and the feather detail was pretty incredible. So I probably took, to get a shot like that, probably spent about 8 years to get that shot. And I've got a couple of them after, but anyway, that's pretty rare.
Yeah, what you mentioned about the background is perfect. I mean, it doesn't interfere with the bird. It actually makes the bird pop.
Oh yeah, it does.
Brings it right forward. Yeah, Great shot.
Okay, now color. The ducks, it's rarely that you get to see them like this. This is a shoveler, very, very common duck. But I was on a platform over in north of Sacramento National Wildlife Refuge, Llano Seco, and the platform is so high that a lot of times they fly level with the platform. And this one came right by me, good sun, everything. And it's the only one I've ever had where I got the wings all down and you could see every feather on that bird, basically, and the color it is. And it looks fake, but there's nothing fake about it. If the sunlight hits them right and you've got good equipment, this is what you can do. And in this case also, the pond, which would normally be in a different location, was the background because the platform was probably 15 feet in the air.
Another great shot.
Now here's one. I have worked years and years and years to get a hummingbird shot. I got a couple out in our area, but finally decided I was going to go over to the Santa Cruz Arboretum and got there and it was raining. But I wasn't going to give up. And so what I did was, believe it or not, all these shots were shot, it was either misting or a little rain. But what I was able to do was I had a camera that you could shoot 3200 ISO. Okay? Believe it or not, this shot and many others that I've taken were shot at 3200 ISO at 2,000th of a second to stop the action. And I had my best hummingbird shooting I've ever had. I got about 3 hours of it. But the detail, everything, in this case, it was subdued light, but there was still just enough of it to break it through the cloud cover to get the detail you needed. But when I looked at these at 3200 ISO, I couldn't believe it. And it's insane, but that's what it took. Here was purely equipment. Equipment got shot.
Yeah, it's a tribute to your equipment, but it's also a tribute to your artistic ability. I mean, this is a gorgeous picture. I mean, it's beautifully lit with natural light.
All natural light.
Yeah.
And I do look for the artistic end of it. There's no question about it. I'm not spraying and praying all the time. This one definitely was composed, and there was quite a few others that were composed too. But I really liked it.
Yeah.
It's been around too. Okay, here's
your favorite again. Yeah.
Yep. And this was I put this on here just to show the detail in these birds. I have many other pictures, but this is a very, very sunny day. Okay, and this is something you normally don't have a lot of luck with, but they were setting just right, and the sun was they were side lit. It was probably 11 o'clock at Merced National Wildlife Refuge over on the east side of it, and I was able to get the reflections and the detail, and they were far enough away that you actually a little of the background was also in focus. Not much, but a little bit tighter focus. So it was basically purely an artistic shot, trying to show them, of course, in all their colors. And the staining on the wings, they're naturally gray, is from their preening out in the fields. But it had eyes, it had posing, it had relaxation, and it really was able to make a good composition, I felt anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, hello.
Yeah. This was a fun shot. My second favorite bird are white-faced ibises. And I have many, many hundreds of pictures of them. Never has this ever happened to me. I was shooting them for the colors, the purplish colors that they turn in when the light hits them just right. And these two got in a, I don't know whether it was territorial or whether they were trying to show each other off, whatever it was. I've never seen, that's like a toreador, I mean, or a dancer. So I fired away and I got two shots that were clear of the weeds on that. And they were really putting on a show. Never, ever have I ever seen that before. I don't know if I'll ever get to see it again, but to get two of them in focus, interacting with each other is almost impossible. And it just happened.
Right time, right place, right equipment.
Yeah, it definitely, another equipment, no question. I mean, equipment is everything. You can't do that with an iPhone.
Well,
Meadowlarks, one of the most difficult birds. They're so common, they're incredible. But to get a picture of them, they have got to be doing something that they want to do, that they don't care that you're around. Now, I was quite a ways away from this one. I shot it with a 500 millimeter. But it was working in the weeds and feeding and popping up and doing this. And the sun was just right. And I probably got more feather detail on this one than any meadowlark I've ever gotten in my life. And once again, the eye was lit up enough to make it work. But I was able to pop the bird out of the weeds. And that becomes, by switching down to a single point of focus, you can do that. And then it popped right out. So you had the color with the environment and still seeing the grass that it was in and the background washing out nice. So it was a nature pose, basically, by a meadowlark. And I liked it. And it can be blown up 3 times life size. I mean, it was really a big shot.
oh, there's your white-faced ibis again.
Yeah.
Wow,
And this
beautiful colors.
This was an art shot. Ended up being, and I really was what I was trying for. I got enough of them in focus to make it work. And the background was really what made the shot. The trees and stuff were far enough away, they totally blurred out. And then the other terrain, the grass and stuff, blurred out too. But it was able to take this and have a couple or 3 of them in focus, and the others just a little bit out of focus, and it created almost a painting. But the processing on this thing, for this series, I've got 10 hours plus processing, trying to make it work the way I wanted to have it work. But just to get it, and somebody asked for that online, and I'll give it to them. And they want to hang.
It is like a painting, very much like a painting. I'd like to see this in a show sometime. It'd be beautiful. Yeah. Let's see, we got more here. Oh, here we go.
This is a typical white-faced ibis. The reason what I was really going to put in the feather detail, the colors. Most people see them as black, because that's what they look like. But they're iridescent, and they got a red eye. And this was a case where I set it up to do it as more of an art shot than anything else, but it works both ways. The lighting was pretty much right on over my shoulder, which it gives detail, but also gives color. And so the lighting was just right for it. and the bird is cooperative, but you can see many, many different colors in that. That most people, I said, most of the time these things look black. That's why I took that shot.
Yeah. We have more? Ah, well, that seems to be seems to be the end of it here. So, a question that with your bird shots, have you been in touch with birding groups? Are you part of any groups like that?
Okay, I'm definitely online on two of them on Facebook. Okay,
Mhm.
and I've learned a whole lot from them. I'm a regular you know, I'm on there quite a bit, and there's probably 6, maybe 8 super photographers on that site, and they really know what they're doing, and they showed me what can be done, and that probably brought my bird photography out more than anything, because you can see that it can be done, and then and I don't necessarily try to recreate what they do, but I can see what they can do, and it still brings my photography up to another level. And I get some pretty good comments on that site, those sites too, after I've learned how to do it. But it's all about you've got to have some form of action the bird is doing. You certainly have got to have an eye. They haven't got the eyes, just throw them away. And a lot of it is putting them in their environment, but making them the star. And that's what really makes the shots that are popular. The bird is a star in its own environment, and it's doing something that is a little bit unusual, or a little bit of unusual look. That's pretty much what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, a couple of years ago, I know that you had an exhibit at the Greater Valley Museum at MJC, where a lot of your birds were on display.
Yeah, I haven't explained that, but I've had several shows with them, and in fact, that's where my collection's going. I'm putting my collection together, and they're going to use it for education, fundraising, and things like that. And also, as a quick aside, I'm doing the Osterberg collection.
The what collection?
The Osterberg taxidermy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of all the African animals and all the birds and all that. And I'm working on that project for them. And we're setting it up so people can use those birds to illustrate reports, projects, things like that. All their the animals and stuff like that. It's a super project, really a lot of fun. So I'm very active with them right now. And we didn't do any shows this year because obviously it's closed.
Right. Well, I can't imagine a better person to illustrate all the things that they have going on there, their nature museum. Yeah. So congratulations on that, and I'm glad you're still working with them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a long-term relationship. Arnold and I are doing a lot together.
Yeah, so people should know that as soon as things lighten up, as far as the pandemic is concerned, that check into the museum and they'll be able to see examples of your work at different times over the next couple of years.
Yeah, there's usually one of them, at least 3 a year, new exhibits of my wildlife photography, mostly birds. So yeah, they'll be in there.
Great. Well, Larry, thank you for coming on this show today. It's fascinating. It's a different approach to photography. I mean, I joke about taking an iPhone to shoot these birds. I wouldn't do that, but but I would have to rethink some of my own equipment if I was going to go out and achieve the clarity and artistic brilliance that we've seen here with some of these pictures. They're really great. I really appreciate you sharing them.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity. And the only thing about the equipment, it's not for the faint at heart. You see how much it costs. It's not.
Okay, Larry.
So
Well,
anyway,
thank you. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you around when we can get out of the house.
We'll be doing it. Okay. Thanks again, David.
Okay, bye-bye. So this was the last in our series of fotoMODESTO Online Gallery at this point, because February is over, which is usually fotoMODESTO month. But we may continue some of these interviews, sharing times with other photographers throughout the year. If you know some photographers you would like to know more about, give me a call. Let's see, where would that be? Through the gallery, through Missling Gallery. Get in touch and tell me who you would like to see, okay? Or maybe yourself, maybe you have some special collection of photographs you'd like to share. So anyway, it's been nice sharing this with you, and we'll see you around. Keep shooting.